In this video, we're going to be covering how to make a copy of the spreadsheet called Priority Monitoring, why it makes it easier to reach your goals, and how to customize it to use it weekly. This is the next step because now that you've identified your sweet spot numbers, it's valuable for you to begin monitoring the 3 priorities: your activity level, your protein intake, and your calorie percent difference. Now, we've made this very easy for you with our spreadsheet. You're going to make a copy of the spreadsheet in Google Drive. I'll show you how, and it's basically like a free version of an Excel spreadsheet that's in the cloud inside Google Drive, and that makes it really easy for you to access it on your phone and your computer, as well as share it with us for feedback and support. You will want to use this document on your phone at least some of the time. That's the main way that I check in with it on a daily basis. So you're going to need to download the app specifically for Google Sheets so that you can view and edit that file on your phone. But that said, for the initial setup, I recommend that you do that on a computer because some of the customization with certain numbers and colors is only something you can access from the computer version. So I'll be demonstrating how to do that. Now, when you make your copy of the document, you want to make sure that you're in the correct Gmail account where you want the spreadsheet to be organized. There are 2 ways that you can make your copy of the spreadsheet. First, from your phone, you can use your camera phone and scan the QR code that you see on page 66 of the playbook. So if you head to page 66, you'll see something that looks like this, and you can just use your camera phone to scan that QR code. Alternatively, from your computer, you can visit the webpage championincommand.com/priority. That's what I'll be showing you how to do, just so that you can get all of those customized menu options to open up from the computer. So after you follow the instructions to make your copy, you're going to have something that looks like this. And basically, this spreadsheet makes it really easy to see where you're at in relationship to your 3 priorities, because for each day of the month, you can identify your activity level from here, like on this drop-down list. And you can also type in some quick notes about what you did each day so that you remember how and why you burned those calories. And you can also see the bird's eye view of how much protein you're actually eating, not just what you hope you're eating or what you think you are, but what you're actually eating. And then over here in these columns towards the right side, you can get your calorie percent difference automatically calculated for you by typing in the total number of calories that you burned and the total number of calories that you ate. Tracking these details on a daily basis will put you in the best position to rapidly get results because you'll be able to see the calorie percent difference without getting your calculator out like you did earlier in skill 1. And that means you can develop the skill of accurately landing in your plus or minus 5% calorie target zone much faster than you would otherwise. Here you can see a quick example of mine. It's been filled in for the past few weeks. Now, one really important feature of this spreadsheet is that it calculates the weekly averages. You simply type in your 3 numbers for protein, calories burned, and calories consumed, and then the spreadsheet does the rest. This spreadsheet is the single easiest way to monitor the 3 priorities that are responsible for rapidly releasing fat, building muscle, and keeping your entire body optimized because it brings all of these different metrics together in one place, kind of like a dashboard. From personal experience with this, I recommend that you start daily updating it every day, and that way you quickly get the hang of how easy it is to make choices about what you're eating for your fun meal, how much you're eating for your fun meal, how much of a dessert you're having. Now, the reason why we created this priority monitoring spreadsheet is because I was not getting the results that I wanted. I was logging everything in my fitness tracker, but because I was focused on all those little details scattered all over the place, I was not seeing the big picture of how it actually comes together. So even though I was doing all the things that I thought I was supposed to do, I still was not getting the results that mattered to me. And it wasn't until we created this spreadsheet, which we're sharing with you, you that I could suddenly focus on what really mattered and make the right choices every day. The good news is that within a few days of starting to use the priority monitoring spreadsheet, I stopped my muscle mass from falling and slowly started seeing it climb back up again, which was exactly what I wanted. And I have continued to see my body fat percentage decrease. So I'm sharing this with you because my experience about all of this can give you some ideas about how to use the spreadsheet and mostly how important it is to really take it seriously and use it regularly, because it is a tool, a powerful tool that will help you develop skills that allow you to collect the right data as weeks go by. And really, it puts you in a power position where you're in control and able to get the results that you want. But that said, it's necessary to be patient with it and allow yourself some time to learn and grow with it. Consider this the beginning of a learning curve that's going to take a bit of time for you to get confident and really dialed in. There is some setup involved in it. And like I said, I'm going to show you on the computer how you can customize this spreadsheet to yourself and start using it now. So if you didn't do it yet, use the QR code on page 66 or visit championincommand.com/priority and follow the instructions to create your copy of the spreadsheet. After it's done, it should look like this. And the first step that we're going to do is make sure that this document is organized in the right folder where you will be able to find it. So you want to click on the File button and then choose Move, like you're seeing here. This is going to take you through a process where you get to decide where it's going to be located. And I'm not going to micromanage this for you. You can choose what is an appropriate folder or place where it makes sense to have that. But this is just how you go through that process. And when you're happy with where it is, you can select it blue, choose Move, or again, click this blue Move button here. You should see some kind of message saying here that it was successfully moved. The next step is that we want to update the title. When I hover in this spot up here on the left top, I'm able to click into this title, and I'm just going to delete the part that says copy of, and I'm just going to put my fake name there. Paula's Priority Monitoring and Refining, and I'm going to delete that part that says master because it doesn't matter. So that's just going to make it, again, easier for me to see when I look at it. I know that that's actually mine. So click in there, update that title. Next, let's customize the drop-down menu so that your calorie ranges are accurate for yourself. You're going to click in one of these, and then you're going to click this pencil edit button. This is the thing that only works on the computer, so it's not possible, as far as I was able to understand, I could not do this on my cell phone. So you may find that you need to be on a computer for this exact part. When this opens here on the right, we've got this panel where we can customize these different options. What you're going to do is change the numbers for the thresholds, because your numbers for vigorous, moderate, lightly active, and sedentary, of course, are different from mine, and you want those to be customized. So you'll look back at your page 64 from when you were identifying your sweet spot numbers, and these numbers that you're seeing in those circles, yours, not my examples, but those actual numbers, those are your threshold ranges for what your areas are. So you can look at those and refer to them, and then you can type in these boxes to change these kinds of numbers. So for example, if this one needs to be, let's say you're like a really high burner, maybe vigorous is above 2,600 and moderate is like 2,200, or whatever those numbers are, you can create what those ranges are for yourself so that you are able to remember easily on a daily basis what those should be. The two bottom options here, momentum and let's move, are things that Craig likes to have when he's in a call reviewing your data. So you can just ignore those for now. You don't want to delete them, but you're not going to use momentum and let's move. You're going to be selecting from one of those 4 activity level options there. After you do that editing process with those numbers, you should be able to see your customized activity zone ranges. Good job. The next thing that we want to do is talk about how to create copies of this sheet. So at the bottom, when you look here, you can see we've got the master copy for priority monitoring and refining. I'll click this little triangle right here and I'm gonna choose duplicate. And now I've got a copy of it. If I double click on the copy, or if I choose rename, I can update this. And I'm gonna call it the month that we're in right now. So whatever the month is, if it's January, February, March, April, May, whatever month we're in at the moment, you're gonna type that there and then press enter, and that will save it. Now, I like organizing these by clicking and dragging. I'm able to move the month that we're in to the front. And that to me is, oops, there we go. This is a little bit easier because then when you open it on your phone, the month that we're in is the one that shows up. And you wanna make sure, I would say just click and drag on those and organize it so that you've got the month that you wanna be looking at currently in the leftmost position, like the first position, like you're seeing there. And then I don't know if it goes without saying, but basically every month you would want to make a new copy of that master copy. So you would go for February and duplicate it again, double click, write the month February, click and drag, and just organize those so that they're in the sequence that you want them to be in. Okay, so now you're ready to actually start filling it out and transferring some information from your fitness tracker into your sheet. Let me give you a quick example of how to fill it out. Let's say that my first date that I've got is gonna be the 18th. So I'm scrolling past the first 17 days of the month because maybe, for example, you might not have a complete month of data, and that's okay. So I'm gonna focus on filling out this row of information for the 18th. When I look at my fitness tracker or my Fitbit app for February 18th, what I'm seeing are a lot of the numbers that I need. Priority number 1 is the activity level, and I can see right here that I burned 1,731 calories. So on my activity level, I'm gonna choose the one that fits in the range for. As an example here, with these numbers, it would be in the light range. Then I'm gonna write a quick note about what I remember that happened. So let's talk about what kind of details to add to activity notes. In general, the 3 categories of information that are useful to keep track of are a description of your physical movement, for example, going to Costco, DIY painting, yard work, a hike, upper body workout 1, legs workout 2, or road trip, and also the total number of steps for the day, and the total number of zone minutes or exercise minutes. If you have a Fitbit, Apple Watch, or something similar, this tracks how many minutes your heart has spent at elevated levels, and that influences your total daily energy burn. The reason it's important to track these numbers will become very clear to you when you get to skill 6. Trust me, it'll be so much easier for you to take action on what we teach in skill 6 when you have 14 days of activity notes with these kinds of details. Priority number 2 is how many grams of protein I ate. So for that, in my Fitbit, I'm gonna enter the area where I tracked my meals. And when I navigate here into the specific details for February 18th, I'm able to see how many grams of protein I had. So here it was 131 grams, and I'm gonna write 131 on my spreadsheet in that spot and then press enter. The other thing that I can see here is how many calories I burned specifically, 1769. So I'm gonna write that in on the document, press enter. And you'll see that there's actually a bit of a discrepancy here. One of the things I've noticed with Fitbit is sometimes the food part monitors the calories burned a little bit differently. Those numbers don't always match. I usually just go with whatever's the higher one. So in this case, it is the number here inside of the food log, 1769. And then calories consumed or calories in is 1,604. So I'm gonna write 1604 on my chart and I'm gonna press enter. And now we can see that things are automatically calculated and we get the calorie percent difference. I don't even have to think about it. How wonderful is math and spreadsheets? 165 negative 9.33%, which means that it's a deficit of almost 10%. which might be okay for some people in certain situations. However, our recommendation as a starting point is that you land in the plus or minus 5% zone that we discussed in skill 1. So theoretically, I could have eaten a little bit more yesterday and I would have been inside my ideal target. But anyway, that is how you fill it out. And you just want to make sure that you're doing that every day, basically. My final recommendation about what you do on this document is that you share it with us so that we're able to give you support. When you click that share button, it's going to open up a window like this. You'll be able to type in this blue box an email address. The email address that you want to choose is team@championincommand.com. I would recommend that you give us editor permission. It's not like we're going to go on there and change a bunch of stuff, but it does just allow us to notice what's going on and make comments and things like that. So you can also send us a little message here if you want. And then you can press the send button. You'll see a message here that access has been updated, and that means that you're not alone with this. Okay, so those are the basics of using your spreadsheet. All right, you're ready to go. We look forward to speaking with you on the weekly call to discuss any questions that you have.